feeling some like listening to some Tool this evening.
I wish that we could post intro music without having ramifications of copyright infringement.
It would be great.
It would be awesome. It would almost be like bands were honored that we love their music or something like that.
It's like we're not selling it directly or anything like that. It's like
exactly. But here we
surely
are.
we can't be paying you. You can't make any less than what you make off Spotify per play, which is like
fractions of a cent. Yeah.
So whatever.
Yep.
It's the moral, the principle of the matter.
Easy, Lars.
Can you hear me okay?
Yeah, you're delayed.
Am I really?
Yeah, you are.
Marco.
Polo.
No, I'm not that delayed.
Oh, you caught up. You were. It was like a couple. Okay. It was like a second or two.
It's probably because Spotify is thinking while I'm doing this, and
yeah, right. It's like, we're working. All right, let's do this. Welcome to the show, everyone.
It's Monday.
That it is.
We're here, episode 224.
224
of Snakes and Stogies. It's brought to you by blackboxcages.com, Facebook, Instagram. Give them a follow. Go to blackboxcages.com. Shop around. You need a rack. You need a cage. Black Box is all the rage. Use the code THN24 at checkout. Get 5% off your order. A little something. Save even more. Choose the pickup option at checkout. That's what Jake and I did over the weekend. And now I got see if I can do this without messing up my. In the process of setting up that bad boy.
Plastic.
I've converted. I'm team white PVC now.
I can't do it, man. I just can't.
I couldn't either before, but when you realize how much brighter your room is because there's more reflective surface.
Yeah, I guess I love the darkness, man. It's like my own little night court.
I'm sold. Lead time is higher currently right now. They are busier, which is good for them. 6 to 8 weeks is still shorter than most other brands out there. So, it's a high quality rack and enclosure. Phil can attest. I can attest. What I got is one of the new XR V28s. So it is a 20 slot V28, which is a 23 quart equivalent.
Okay.
Volume wise, I think is what the specs said. And it's a great size tub. It's for anything like standard colubered size, i.e. corn snakes, adult kings, things like that. It is perfect. It's a perfect size tub. Very similar to the 32 quart size tubs that we would typically use, with the shorter distance that are a little longer. I think what did Jake tell me? It's basically like a V70 if you cut it in half almost, except
in half lengthwise.
Yeah. No, okay. Like down the perpendicular. Like this is the V70.
Height is shorter.
No,
the height is short. Oh, the depth.
Like if you decided to make a V70 and turn it into two tubs, and you just cut it right down the middle.
Oh, okay. Yes, the depth is shorter. Yes.
It'd be pretty close to a half of a V70, but regardless, 20 slots. The tubs are Vision tubs, so they're hella thick and they're hella heavy.
Nice.
So that is going to be my project for the long weekend, is getting rid of my AP rack, which will be a joyous day. And then I have a wooden rack that my dad built and had that can finally go too. So
did you say long weekend?
Yeah.
Oh man. My sincerest apologies to anyone who listens to this show and works retail. I'll be working Friday with you.
Sorry, buddy. I
Long
may go into
weekend.
work. I say this every time we have some sort of long weekend. Is like I'll go in on Friday because I've got a Twin Cities reptiles order for Fulvius to print and get out the door before Christmas and stuff. And like I'm gonna go in on Friday and I'm gonna do it. And then Friday rolls around and I'm like, no, I'm not. So I don't know, man. Like we work like a half day Wednesday and then we're off Thursday, Friday, Saturday, and Sunday, and that's a lot of time. So sometimes I'm just like, I'm gonna go to work just for the sake of having something to do.
You're a bolder man than I am. If I had that schedule, I would not be going into the office. But kudos to you, sir.
I don't know, man. I like my job. Like I
love my job. I just
done. I don't know.
If I can be home, I'd rather be home.
But I've got this to do. I got some beanies. I'm gonna try and see if I can do leather patches on beanies and see how those hold up. My only concern is like the stretching of the beanies with some of us with larger heads, like myself. So I'm gonna do some sort of experimenting there and see how that works. And if I can get some beanies with the patches, good to go. I'll probably get some of those added to the website and some other stuff. I've decided I'm not gonna add anything new to the website for FulviusApparel.com. Check it out. Black Friday sale is still going on for another 5 days. All items in the shop, buy 2 get 1 free, and then buy 1 get 1 half off if you don't need that much stuff. The issue that I've had with that through Shopify, this is a complete tangent from what I was just talking about, is that if you have those 2 codes activated to automatically come out at discount, for some reason it will only do one or the other. It will not do. So if like you only got 2 things and you put in the cart, it's not going to take that 50% off for some reason. I don't know why. I got to look into it. But if you're doing that, let me know. Once you place the order, I will refund you whatever the amount of the half is for the buy 1 get 1 half off. So, but the buy 2 get 1 free is working fine. But I had some stuff that I thought about adding, but I think I'm going to hold off until probably next month, just because I didn't want to add it last minute, and then people that have bought stuff already with the sale are going to be pissed because maybe it was something they would have wanted and they would have gotten instead of something else. But regardless, I am going to get some new stuff up there soon. Maybe a cottonmouth design. You're muted.
I said, "Ooh, the swamp lion."
That's what I wanted to. That's what I wanted to say to some degree. I don't know exactly what text I want to add to it. It's tough. I need your input.
All right. We shall consult my cottonmouth upstairs.
But I have another Pacillotheria design. This will be the 3rd, but it's because I found an old plate, like one of the vintage plates. So it looks really good. It's of a Regalis. I did a test print of it today. I'm wearing it right now, actually, but it's under my hoodie. Looking's free. Touching's going to cost you.
You should give us a little teaser, bro.
I can't.
I mean, you can. You can just lift up, just flash us with the goods. Oh, that looks awesome.
Yeah,
that looks freaking cool as hell. When are we going to do a Venom Exchange Radio Fulvius Apparel thick tail scorpion collaboration?
Whenever you want.
Let's do it. Let's find a cool ass Booth Eye plate and do it up.
Some of those are really tough because the file size to begin with is small. The resolution isn't great because they're almost always, they are always scans.
Yeah.
Really old documents, which automatically usually means that it's a low resolution. So fortunately, the Pacillotheria one didn't require too much surgery. But some of the other like Centroroides ones I've played with and stuff, like they're much more involved, and I need to really get in there and work on them and put some time into them. So
yeah, for sure. I hit up I hit up Matt from Cloud Forest Design because I absolutely love his labels for all of our critters. He does a phenomenal job of vivarium and enclosure labels, and most of his labels, for those of you who are unfamiliar, cloudforestdesign.com, he makes a picture of the animal, range map, some fun facts, and then him and I did some collaboration last year on anti-venom labels. So in the state of Florida, by law, each individual enclosure has to have the common name, the scientific name, and the words danger venomous reptile on the enclosure. So I had Matt take his already existing venomous labels for the vivariums and add those three things if they weren't already there. And then him and I sorted through all the different appropriate antivenoms for each species and then added the antivenom. So instead of having the ICUN red list, scale on there, or some of the fun facts about the species, it just says antivenoms, and it gives you a couple of the ones that would work for that species. That way, God forbid something happens, you can peel it off the cage, take it with you to the hospital, what have you. So I hit him up recently about doing some scorpion ones, and he's working on them now. So they're not going to be the same style. They're going to follow his X series, which is a black background with like a more metally font, which I think is cool. Metal like the music, not the element, homonym. But I'm excited, man. It's gonna be fun. So especially get some bug labels up there.
Let's see. Tyson asked whatever happened to the Dirt Snake Mafia idea. Phil has. Is that a Venom Exchange Radio shirt?
It is a Venom Exchange Radio shirt, yes. If you go to venomexchangeradio.com, you can purchase it on a phone case, a t-shirt, a women's and men's t-shirt or non-binary shirt, however you prefer to shop. There's all three, as well as hoodie. And it is the skull of an Atractaspis. Don't ask me which one. And it says Dirt Snake Mafia, Venom Exchange Radio. So feel free to check it out.
Yeah, I let, since that was like Phil's initial idea and stuff, and he started the VER shop, I let him, I was like, I'm not going to make one to put on the site, because let that be the radios thing.
So I appreciate your insight.
THP raffle coming again soon. That was fun last time. We have talked about doing another one. It's mostly just been a schedules and time thing. Totally down. Would like to make one happen again.
Yeah.
What is going on, I think, as of today or maybe a couple of days ago, Wally Kern of Supreme Gecko is doing, every year he does the 12 Supreme Days of Christmas, which is like a charity raffle type deal, which I did put up some Fulvius stuff in that. So if you go follow Supreme Gecko and subscribe to them on their YouTube channel, I think they post all that stuff for this is my first time participating in it, so I'm really not super familiar with it. It was something Tyson also mentioned to me, and I'm always, if anyone ever has like raffles and stuff like that, like I'm pretty much always going to be down to donate something, just because they're, it's low barrier, it's helps people out,
Yeah, for sure.
It's good for everybody. Gets brands out there,
that
kind of thing. So, donated any 2 items off of the website of the winner or chosen person's pick. So, go check that out. What else is happening? I think that might be it. Cold-blooded caffeine. Get some coffee. Snakes and Stogies blend. And many, 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 many other blends that are either affiliate, like our blend and other podcasters and YouTubers blends. Are we considered YouTubers? We're not considered YouTubers.
I mean, kind of.
Ish. YouTuber adjacent.
Yeah.
Content
creators.
And then they have their own sort of, I guess, house blends is what you'd call it. All of which you will not be disappointed with. Use the code SMOKE at checkout, and that should get you 10% off, if I'm not mistaken. So
yes,
but that Snakes and Stogies blend is pretty good. We're biased, but it's good.
We are.
What are you smoking this evening?
I grabbed something that I had never seen before, and tell me if it's crap. It wasn't expensive. I think it was like $8, but I asked the tobacconist that I feel like he fairly knows his stuff. I was like, hey man, what's this box with the Spanish man of war ships on it? I was like, that looks cool. And it is Saint Louis Rey Eco a Mano Carinas. And the band is Ultramar. Now I have had this is Saint Louis Rey or Luis Rey. I've had San Luis Rey, which was from Cuba, and it's a completely different band. So I don't know if this is just them playing on their name or if this is a sister brand or sister band of another company. I never heard of it, but I was like, oh, I'll give it a shot. Why not? The box got me.
It did its job then.
It did its job, yeah. So
there's those. There's unfortunately there's a couple of different brands that have Ray in the name, and they're all very familiar. So like St. Louis Ray is one. There's Ray Del Mundo or El Rey Del Mundo. There's a couple, and they're all very similar with Saint or Santa or Saint or something like that in there, and it's kind of frustrating that I think they do that on purpose. So people see it and they're like, oh, I've had that before. Like, it's like the Mandela effect or something.
Yeah.
I don't know. I haven't had that one. I don't recognize that one at all. So,
well, we're going to give it a shot. And yourself?
So we got in some new Buenaventura's. It's not going to focus. I'm going to have to do this every week. Kill the light. So they have this line. I don't know if it's new or not. It's new to the shop, but it's called the Favoritos. And so there's one that's a Connecticut, one that's a Habano, and this is the Maduro.
That is a dark wrapper.
It's the Maduro.
Yeah, but that's like that's real Maduro.
I was going to smoke one yesterday, but I ended up giving it to my dad because he came over and I had to laser engrave something for him. So I did not get to smoke this one. The Connecticut was really good. The Habano... Maybe it's because I was busy drilling holes in tubs to not really pay attention a whole lot, but it was fairly unmemorable.
Okay.
But I mean, this Buenaventura stuff that they've got at the shop over the last couple months, like a lot of it has been really good. And there's these they're not little, but it's like a Corona, and it's a natural wrapper, and I need to find the size and which one it is because it is so damn good, and it's like $7.99, and it is
really
phenomenal. Like I want to buy a box of them. Like me and Raj rave about them to each other constantly. Like, dude, did you have one? Like, yeah, they're so good. Oh my god, they're so good. Like, just goofy shit like that. But
nice.
So I'm gonna smoke the Maduro of this. See how it is. It's 6x60. It's a little heavy, a little dense. Like I said, the Connecticut was good. So
cool. It's a great looking band.
Yeah. And there's it's simple, kind of retro-y.
Yeah, I love how the Robin's Egg Blue pops against the Maduro leaf.
Yeah, they've got two bands on there. So.
Yeah, it looks real good. And I love that. What is it? The Dunlop style logo.
Yeah, kind of.
Yeah. I like it. That Jesus fish font. Or evolution fish font, Yeah,
I spent most of my day yesterday just drilling holes in tubs because that is the one thing that I will forever hate the most about this hobby is having to solder or drill holes in tubs. If I could pay someone millions of dollars to do it and not have to do it, I would. Like,
and if you have someone else do it, it's never as good as if you did it.
Oh, mine looked like a blind kid do it.
Or are you using a step drill bit?
No, I'm using a regular one.
Oh man, Henry got me on the step drill bit.
I have one. I never used it. It's literally sitting on the table over there.
I didn't know they existed until Hen Dog showed me because I kept cracking tubs, man. Because I was sick of doing the soldering iron thing, and it stinks. I'm breathing in fumes. I feel like I'm killing myself and all the animals. And then you get those melted like strings of plastic. Absolutely hate that. Yeah. And I was drilling, I was cracking tubs, and Henry's like, no, man, you got to do step drill bits. And then I realized that the tubs I was using, which are Container Store, my favorite, if I push too hard, it would still crack. So then I find myself getting a very, very fine brass drill bit, making a small pilot hole, and then using that as a start to the step drill bit.
No.
So it literally takes me twice as long because I'm literally drilling the same hole twice, but they come out flawless, absolutely flawless. So
I'm okay so like these tubs are nice because they're not a super brittle plastic, but they're not super soft either, and then they're heavy and they're thick. So as long as you don't put a ton of pressure on the drill, like they're not going to crack at all. I got a couple of cracks like just on the edge of the hole, but nothing like punching through it and causing you to have giant triangle gaps and things.
Yeah,
none of
that's
that.
the worst.
Because I told I was gonna solder it initially, and then the ring gauge of my soldering iron is so tiny that it would have taken me. It would have been like a days long project.
Yeah.
And so I finally was like, let's drill one, see what happens, and it drilled fine. So I was like, okay, that's what we're doing.
Excellent.
And it, I have 16 of the 20 tubs. I need to get my hands on 4 more. But yeah, it took a while because I did 2 rows of holes on all 4 sides of each tub. So and then I have a Craftsman drill that's absolute garbage. I don't even know where it came from or how I got it, but the battery does not last on it. So like every, I don't know, 5 tubs, I have to stop and plug it in and charge it.
Oh, that stinks.
So,
well, I have a drill that I bought specifically for snake tubs and odds and ends around the snake room. The drill never leaves the snake room. It's Black & Decker. It's neon orange. It is micro USB recharging. And I don't even know how many tubs I could do on one charge. I mean, like the thing just never dies, and I think I paid $25 for it on Amazon, something like that. But I will say, if you want to buy a drill that's cheap and micro USB, I'm sure now they have C-type rechargeable, Black & Decker orange handle, $25. Definitely do it. Well worth it, in my opinion. So and yeah, I know that I'm crazy for doing the double hole thing, the double drill thing, but with venomous and now doing some of the bugs, I would rather have a perfectly clean hole that's uniform in size. Opposed to having stuff that's fragmented or sharp edged. I don't want a snake to rub up against it and cut themselves, because sometimes, man, sometimes it comes really sharp,
Yeah.
So,
and any of those like little burrs or something that I'd get, usually I'll take a a razor blade or something and trim those off. But honestly, I had like next to none of those with these tubs. Like it's such a weird, perfect density but thickness of the plastic to drill it. It's vision,
man. Yeah.
And God, they're so heavy, dude. Like if I have all 16 of these tubs stacked together, I swear to God, it is 50 pounds of tubs.
Oh, I believe it.
It's insane.
Yeah.
Because you look at them and you're like, oh, those are tubs. They're not that heavy. And then you pick it up and you're like, holy shit.
Yeah. I have Vision V70s, and dude, even just like hosing them out in the bathtub, they're a heavy gauge tub, man. They really are. So they make a great product. It's a shame that their gauges are so expensive and still slightly ugly.
Yeah.
But I own enough of them, I'm allowed to say that.
Well, Black Box uses Vision tubs for most of their stuff. Jake got another one of the new racks that they just released not that long ago that uses a Stairlight that you can get either on eBay or at Walmart.
Oh, wow.
It's one of the ones that has the wheels. It's like one of the long ones. It's supposed to be almost like a V70 equivalent, but I think taller.
Okay.
I don't know. So what our plan is once I get this in the room and set up, I'll do sort of a full rundown of this new 28 rack. Sort of a review of sorts.
Sure.
I can already tell you that this is probably going to be one of the best racks on the market in terms of overall versatility and functionality. Like just the number of, like, it's the perfect size, like the tub size.
And this is closed sided, right?
Yeah.
Cool.
I got the dual zone heating. So I've got heat zone up top, heat zone at the bottom. tubs, the size, like it's big, but it's not too big. It's tall, but it's not too tall. I got the toe kick for it this time. Unlike my XR16s, which I did not get a toe kick for, and I need to still, because the bottom 2 tubs of that, because it's on carpet, are really tight. Out. So,
does it have a mid tub divider like a support beam in the middle where you could put a larger, wider tub, or no?
What do you mean?
Like, all right, you have 2 tubs next to each other on one shelf, right?
Yes.
Is there a divider in between those 2 tubs where you could put, if you didn't have that divider, you could put a wider, larger tub on one shelf and make it a 1 tub shelf, or no?
No.
Okay. Okay.
So it's 2 rows of 10.
There is a support beam in between the tubs.
Yeah.
Okay. Okay.
It's 2 rows of 10 of these V28s.
Okay.
And again, I think it's just from the pictures, it's hard to gauge like the mental context of the tub sizes and exactly what you're working with. But after I saw them, I was like, these are perfect. This is exactly what I need. So
now the real question is, for all the short people out there, how tall is it?
So I am 6'4", and it probably comes up to my chin, maybe my nose.
Okay.
So I think
it's tall, but not too tall.
Website, yeah. So it's like I can see over the top. Again, I'm 6'4", so if it's taller than me, that's usually a problem. But like I said, I'm excited to get it put together, and I'll do the video on it. And then Jake, I think at this point, has pretty much one of every one of their racks.
Oh wow.
And so we're going to go and do sort of a side-by-side comparison and like what each rack is sort of catered towards or what he uses them for.
Hell yeah.
That might be a little while because he's got to rearrange his entire room. But I think once we do that, that'll help a lot of people in terms of like deciding what they need to get, because he's got sort of the gamut of it. He got one of these. He got the the V70, the XR20s and XR16s, which are the same rack, just 2 different counts.
Yep.
And I think that'll be really good. So we're planning on doing that as soon as he's ready to go.
Hell yeah, man. Do you already have an idea of what you're putting in the new rack?
Yeah. So I've got some smaller adult bears, and I've got corns. Like I said, that AP rack that I have, it's going.
I imagine that you weren't using that AP rack, that it was already...
No, I've been using it begrudgingly in waiting for me to get another black box rack to get rid of it. And then I have that wooden rack, which is like a 32 quart tub per shelf rack, which both those racks right now, I think they're like maybe half full. They're not fully loaded top to bottom.
Okay.
But I'll be able to move all of those into this. I'm probably going to have a good bit of empty space on this still once it's set up and done. So, but we'll figure that out.
Hey man, room for babies.
But then I'm going to move where that AP rack is now. It's on top of 2 rhino cages. I have a big Exoterra waiting for me over my parents' house that big male rhino from Christian Parr is going to go into. And then I think the spiders and stuff may go on top of this rack, or I'll put a piece of PVC or board or something on top of that Exoterra, and that's what I'll keep spiders and stuff on.
Cool.
Kind of depends on how tall we're talking at that point, but
cool.
Yeah, not doing a complete rearranging of the room like I typically have to do whenever it's black box time, but
yeah.
Gonna have to move some stuff around, and then I'll get rid of that AP rack. I'm gonna sell that, put it on Facebook or something, and sell it cheap. And if someone wants that wooden 42 quart or 32 quart rack, they can have it. I don't know. I asked my dad if he wanted it back for anything, and he's like, no. So I was like, great.
All right. Well, I'm kind of doing the same thing now. All the arachnids are in 18 quart individual tubs, and then I still have. I try to keep harmless stuff on the south side of the room and venomous stuff on the north side. And I've got it 50-50 right now. with the exception of the Gila monsters, kind of like the dividing line, if you will.
Right.
But I have
the DNZ.
The DNZ, yeah, most definitely the DNZ. I have a wire baker's wire rack, caster rack, whatever you want to call it.
Yep.
That has all venomous on it. And on the bottom of that was a 2x2x2 exo that I had my last pair of girdle tails in.
Mm-hmm.
And I moved some stuff around and I wanted to put them under the AC vent because they're finally of size. They've got to be, they got to be 5 or 6 years old now. They've got to be old enough to breed or do something. And I hadn't looked at them. I won't lie. I hadn't looked at them, like really looked at them in a long time. So I took them out. I gutted that cage. Turns out I have a pair, thank God. And I moved them into another 2x2x2 exo that's in under the air conditioner. So it's got the heat lamp on it, the UVB on it, and then throughout the day, it's getting cold air from the air conditioner vent pumping into it with a heat lamp. And then at night, it has a 15-degree drop, easy, just because it's literally sitting under AC vent. So now I have another exo that's empty that I don't know what to do with. And I was like, well, I could put something in. I could put the chlorecus in there or something. I thought, oh, maybe I put my African garter snake in there. But I realized that the space it takes on the wire, on a 36-inch wire rack, I could put 4 18-quart tubs with lids. So I think I'm going to probably just garage that cage, even though it's a beautiful cage, and move bugs onto their own like 2 or 3 shelf wire thing, which means I got to kick up my ass to finish the decor in the black boxes so I could put stuff that's in tubs on the rack in the black box enclosures and make more space in the wire rack for inverts.
That was the most frustrating part when I was doing dart frogs, was those wire racks, like playing Tetris to get tanks to fit on shelves, because it was like, okay, well, I can't have 2 of these because they don't fit, but if I have 1 of these and then 1 of these like smaller 18s or something, it kind of works, but then I still have 8 inches of space that I just can't use. And that was just a constant battle.
Well, what kills me is because the 18-quart tubs are gasket with latches, you can't put 3 tubs across one 36-inch shelf because they kind of kick out. So let me phrase it. You can, but you got to shove them in between each other. Right. And now you're spilling water bowls. You're jostling the snake. Yeah. And I feel bad. Like every time I pick up the tub, I try to go as gingerly as possible so as not to make it feel like an earthquake for the poor animal. And then nobody ever thinks about this. And maybe it's because I hadn't been to a theme park in a long time, but I'd recently gone to Universal Studios, not recently, maybe this year back, 6 months back. I've been to Universal Studios, went on some rides, and I remember that jolt in your stomach you get when you go on a ride, right? And we all love that. If let me rephrase that. Those of us that love roller coasters, those of us that love those type of rides, we love that drop in your stomach. Well, I don't think animals like that, in my personal opinion. Maybe I'm anthropomorphizing, but when we take a tub down off of a top rack and we quickly bring it down, for their little body, it's probably the same G's. Does that make sense?
They're in a fighter jet.
Yeah, pretty much.
All of a sudden, like
it's like
to the floor.
Yeah, it's like every time I feed my corn snake, it's the Tower of Terror for them, just sudden drops. And I try to alleviate that, but when you put 3 tubs across the top and they're wedged in, you're gonna do it. Like it's bound to happen. Yeah. So I have to do what you're doing, play that Tetris game. But honestly, the only reason why I'm even playing Tetris is because I have 1, 2, 3, 4. I got 4 black box Vivs empty. No, 5 black box Vivs empty because I can't get my ass in gear to do the decor. So part of me wants to just throw them in there with newspaper and a water bowl and say, here you go, pal, until I figure things out. But no, I want to do it the right way. And I want to do my foam and my decor and my backdrops and all that shit. So
yeah, there's few things more frustrating to me, at least in a room, like when you're trying to get stuff to fit and fit cleanly than like having a bunch of dead space around things on racks. And
yeah,
it, especially on those Baker racks, it drove me crazy, because it was like, if I added up all this space that I just can't use, I'd have almost an entirely other like extra shelf worth of space.
Yeah.
But there's just nothing you can do with it. It's super frustrating.
Yeah. And I think about some of my bigger species that are in 4-foot vision cages and 3-foot vision cages. And I'm like, I love you to death, but man, think about how many smaller vivs I could have if I, didn't have those 5 and 6 foot snakes. So, what are you going to do? We do what we do what we love,
Right.
So,
anything happening hip and new down there?
No, I moved those. Yeah, I moved those girdles, which was a big deal, because I may be the only guy in the country with these things. I don't know if someone's listening and you have Cordillus rhodesianus, let me know. But Marcus and I started with 2.2, and I kept a pair at my house. I kept a pair at my parents' house. I've talked about this many times on this show. And the ones that were at my parents' house, my father actually got pictures of them locked up years ago. Nothing ever came of it. And then I bred the ones at my house finally. Of all the Cordillus that we tried to breed, with the exception of Smog gigantus, these were the hardest, man. And I finally got to do it. I got 4 babies. It wound up turning down to 3. And I had those for, I don't even know, it's 5-6 years now. And one just passed away out of the blue. I don't know why. And I had issues with parents. I think they were old. They're all wild caught, so who the heck knows? And parents beating each other up because it's a matriarchal society, and that boss bitch, she'll kill anybody else that's in her domain who's not part of her tribe. And that was a whole debacle. Feel free to listen to back episodes on that one. But yeah, so now I'm down to these 2 lizards, and I washed them off, which they did not like. Just to get all the dirt and sand and dust and stuff off of them, because I really wanted to check the femoral pores, because that's a very easy way to sex them, is identifying femoral pores. Well, the hemipenes on the male are so pronounced that I didn't even have to look at the pores. It's clear as day that it's a pair. So that made me happy. And then I reset them up in that new Exoterra under the air conditioning vent. So hopefully I can get something out of them. Other than them, I haven't really had any new and exciting news at all.
Water pythons?
Oh no, they're still paired, but they're not doing anything. They just sit next to each other and stare at each other. That's it. So we got our first cold snap. And this is my, I've been really catering to this desert room, and I was really excited about this cold snap, because I said, you know what I'm going to do? I'm going to lower the timers on the heat lamps to be about a 2-hour interval, opposed to a 4 or 6 hour interval. And then I'm going to kill the heat emitters, but I'm going to keep the ceiling fan on. I'm going to keep the air conditioner going at 74 degrees Fahrenheit. And I'm going to get some good drop, because I think it was one night, it was like 61 outside. It was like 68 in the room, which I thought was weird. I wish I could open a window, but no, Florida Fish and Wildlife, I did not.
Dude, it was in the low 40s here the other morning.
Oh, that's awesome. I wish I could get that. So just going off of this month, okay, October 31st, my high in the room was 85 Fahrenheit. My low was 76. Not bad. November 21st, my high was 76. My low was 65, because it was 62 outside.
Mm-hmm.
And then, so that was November 21st. And then November 25th, which is today, it spiked to 84 during the day.
Is this the fiasco you mentioned?
Yeah.
Okay.
So I was hoping that I could keep it down. The room was already chilled, you know what I mean? And then we got hot outside. and it's spiked up to 85. So this winter is going to be very interesting. I don't know if I'm going to get the temps that I wanted for the wrinkles, and I'm still not comfortable with doing the wine cooler thing, even though I have one. I got to figure out if I really want to do that. I still have time. But I feel like these intermittent cool days or cool 48-hour periods might still kick something up for like the water pythons. And just kind of see how it goes. I also have Trans-Pecos copperheads together.
Yes.
And I am hoping that this intermittent cool will spark something on them, because there's no reason why they're old enough, they're healthy enough. I got the right sex ratios. Like, there's no reason why they shouldn't pair this year, especially with this intermittent cool drops. I just hope that I can get it.
With those in particular, I honestly would not be surprised if just taking them off food for 2 or 3 months and then pairing them up like I do with the Bairds would be enough. Because
the
Bairds, I firmly believe you do not have to give Bairds like a dedicated cool down. What I've done in the past is just had them on the bottom shelf of a rack and then, not on heat or anything. And then just cut them off food and brought them back up.
Well, so
spring, and they reproduce no problem. So
nice. I've got 1.3.1 of the Trans-Pecos, and the unknown is a small little yearling one that I've got.
Just send it to me.
No, he's in his own little Viv. I love that little bastard. So what I was thinking about doing is I've got 1.1 in one V70, and then I've got 0.2 in another. And when I feed them, I separate them. I was thinking to myself, well, clearly this dude isn't necessarily interested in this girl. So why don't I leave him in there, do a power feeding the next 2 or 3 weeks, and then maybe the week before Christmas or even the week of Christmas, cut the food, cut the heat, and then take him and put him in the other drawer and swap a girl, because I don't want to put 3 snakes in one drawer. I think that'd be too stressful. But I feel like if I swappy him, if he did wind up copulating with the first girl, rock and roll. If he didn't, hopefully the switching of it to a new cage mate that he's never smelled before, never seen before, might kick something on in him. I don't know. I know Keller's going to listen to this and freak out. I told you how to do this, Phil.
I'd be less concerned about the male being ready to go and in the mood than the females.
Well, and the only reason why I'm thinking about him not being keen is the girls are all fat and good looking, whether it be winter weight or ovulation or something. They're all fat and sassy, and he's kind of a skinny thing. And like he eats, but like you still he doesn't have a triangular shape per se.
Are they winter breeders?
I thought they were spring.
I thought so too.
Yeah. But remember, my winter is going to be like a month, if that. So
see,
maybe 3 weeks if I'm lucky.
Matt Mose talked about it on Poca Joe's show, Calibra Corruption, last night.
I heard that show was great. I got to listen to it.
It was. And Matt talked about photo period playing more of a role than it gets credit for in cooling and cycling and stuff like that. And that's something I also agree with and have talked about extensively over the last couple of years. Is I think photo period is severely overlooked as a trigger.
Sure.
I mean, it affects us whether you have a clock on you or not. Like the shorter days are definitely, it's a thing. And so I think that does play a factor just as much as temperature does. And food cycling, I guess, to a degree, but I guess a better question is like for stuff that's more equatorial, do they even get a shorter day like that?
Yeah.
Is that more a northern versus southern hemisphere kind of thing? Just thinking of like chondros in particular, does that photo period really matter as much with them? But if we're talking about North American stuff, I don't know. I think the photo period has a lot to do with it. And that's why I'm not a big fan of opaque tubs. Like I like my tubs to at most be translucent.
Okay.
just so that because I have a window in the room, and I think that light cycle naturally happening, I think, is important personally.
Sure, I agree.
That's me, but I don't know. I think overall, the cycling and sort of brumation thing that's become sort of the standard is, I think it's a little more fluid than that. And I mean, there's nothing wrong with if we have a system that works. There's no reason to if it ain't broke, don't fix it. But like with the Bairds, like I said, I'd cut them off food and just kept them on the bottoms of the racks, and they bred just fine. And I think you could do the same thing with corns and most North American stuff, honestly. But I don't know, because it's also for me too. I mean, just like I'm sure it is for you. Like our winters the last couple of years have been a little goofy. We'll have weeks where it's in the 50s or the 40s, and then we'll have weeks where it's like mid to high 70s. And it's just ping ponging. And when you don't have a dedicated cooler or something, and you have them, in my closet or the garage or whatever, like it does make cooling kind of frustrating, because it's like you don't get a consistent temperature drop, for an extended period of time. It's like sort of ping pongs. And that hasn't made any difference in terms of fecundity or anything from what I've seen. It's just frustrating, and I know Jake's gotten, I'm going to use the word paranoid, but that's not it. But like when Doc Loafman talked about animals sort of being in this weird limbo of like cooled off, but not cooled, if that makes sense. Like they're not quite in the 50s consistently, but they're sort of above like 60 on a fairly regular basis. So they're not quite where they should be, but their metabolism is going to keep doing its thing because they're not quite cooled enough.
Right.
Which, again, that hasn't been an issue for me, but I know like that makes Jake nervous with some of his stuff, which maybe with the Pituophis or something, I can see it possibly being an issue, but I don't know. I don't think it's that complicated. I think it's a combination of the photo period, the food availability, and the overall temperature, even if it's just the ambient and it's only dropping, 10 degrees from what it normally is. To me, if I'm keeping my stuff and it's consistently in the mid 60s for several weeks, even if it's just at night, like maybe the day it'll get low to mid 70s. Like I think that night drop on a consistent basis is enough to for them to get the idea of like, okay, it's clearly a different season. Like, that's that time of year.
Yeah, and I'm definitely doing the photo thing more with the Rincals than anything else. I've been very strict about their UVB time in correlation to the time of day, as well as their heat lamps. And I wasn't going to this year, but I decided I'm going to throw them together probably in February or March when the heat really comes back. And what I'll do is just to make sure that the heat comes back and it's not just the same 10-degree drop every night like it's been for the past 6 months or whatever. I'm going to kick that heat lamp up to, instead of being 2 hours a day, it'll be 4. Instead of 6 hours of UVB, it'll be 8. And I'm just throwing them together and see what happens. The few people I know that have bred them outside of South Africa, they cooled them 55 degrees, man. And I don't know if that was just a proven thing, but you look at certain parts of South Africa that don't get that cold, and they're still breeding and living and doing their thing. So I really think, going back to what you're saying, it has to do with light and food.
It's a combination. It's not just one thing. I think it's a multitude of factors that cause those hormonal shifts and triggers. And you look at corn snakes, like the corn snakes down here in South Carolina, where our winters are fairly mild, and I highly doubt things are actually going down for a full 3 months. Like it can be December and it'll still be warm enough to where you can still find black razors hanging out doing their thing. So it's like the corns that we have here in the Southeast over time, I'm sure have evolved to adapt to those sort of pseudo winters, if you will.
Right.
But like the ones that are up in Jersey, Like that's a very different story. So maybe it is a matter with the rinks in particular, like, is there some localities, maybe the northernmost varieties that would require that, or could they all just get away with, having, keeping them in, again, like mid to low 60s for an extended period of time with no food? Would that do the job? Like, not necessarily what's the bare minimum that you can do to get the results, but like, what's the bare minimum you can do to get the results?
Right. And I think that does play a factor, because my localities is KwaZulu-Natal and Eastern Cape. And obviously I don't know exactly where these animals came from, but there are many different temperature gradients throughout both of those state territories.
Well, what's the elevation of the KwaZulu-Natal stuff? Do you know?
Anywhere. It could be anywhere from sea level to 6,000 feet.
Okay.
It just depends on. I don't know where these particular ones hail from. Judging by iNaturalist photos and pictures from friends and friends of friends, I'm guessing these are probably going to be between maybe sea level and 4,000 feet. They don't quite look like the higher ones. Somebody in South Africa might be listening to this and think that it's total nonsense, and I could be very wrong. I don't know what the elevation is on the Eastern Cape localities. I just don't. And there's so many, there's that huge mountain range due west of Durban and Pietermaritzburg. And I've been trying to watch, because my male looks, the one that I'm going to breed this year, looks like he's fresh out of those foothills. He's like textbook. And I think I got to look more on that, because I feel like the girl, I missed ovulation last year. I saw it and I was like, is that what I think it is? And I missed it. But I really feel like if the boy is going, then she'll be going, if that makes sense. I feel like if he's on the prowl, he knows he's on the prowl for a reason, if that makes sense.
I know I've asked you this before, but like cohabbing those, is that?
Well, the pair that I'm going to pair, and the pair that I'm going to pair was living together. Their previous owner had them together for like a year, no problem. Like fed them in the same cage and everything, which I thought was crazy. I would never do that now. Yeah. And they were kept in racks, which I don't have. Mine are individually housed in 3 foot by 2 foot by 2 foot vision cages. So they're the 3 foot really tall. And I mean, when my female stands up hooded, she's every bit of 18 to 20 inches tall.
Wow.
So
yeah, I don't see that's what Matt Most told me to do with rhinos too. He's like, when you have an adult pair and you're trying to get them to breed, he's like, cohab them, because that ovulation can be so subtle.
Yeah.
And that window be so small that if you don't have the male in there when the time is right, like, you're just going to miss out on the season. You're just, it's going to be a swing and a miss, because you're just, that window is going to come and go and you're not going to have it. So, I mean, I've never been one to, like, cohabbing is never at the top of my list of things to do.
Agreed.
But in the case of these rhinos, like, seeing them over the last 2 or 3 years housed together, like, the male isn't constantly chasing the female down. If it's in season, it's a little different. But there is a very clear, like, behavioral start and stop in terms of the breeding activity and stuff in those. Like, when the season's just kicking off, he goes off food, like, textbook, and he chases that female around a lot until the job gets done. And then once she's laid and stuff, it stops. Like, the switch flips, he goes right back to eating again. They go right back to doing their thing and just hanging out. Like, so they very clearly, they're very systematic, I guess, and organized in the way that happens every year. And I'd imagine with a lot of species that'd be the case. I know there's been some talk of, I don't remember exactly which species in particular, but like cohabbing some stuff, and the male will just, mostly with lizards, I think, but the male will just not leave the female alone to the point of, like, detrimental stress
on both
health issues and stuff. Yeah. So I don't know. I haven't noticed that with the Jansen. I haven't noticed that with the rhinos. And I'll cohab stuff during breeding season as far as corns go, and that's mostly just because it's like anytime I put them together in like a neutral tub just to so I can see if they lock up or not, it never happens. So I just end up putting the male in with the female for a couple weeks, separate them to feed them, give them a week or two off, and then put them back together until I get eggs. But I don't know. I think with the rinks, maybe the move might be to just cohab them again. And
yeah, I mean, so here's the photo of me missing the ovulation, and I could be wrong. She could just be fat. She could just be inflated while she's basking, but I've never seen her look this rotund, if you will. This is March 6th.
Oh yeah.
And I mean, you look at her neck, there's no difference between the start of her nape and the start of her body. Like, she's just thick everywhere. And if you look at the taper of the tail,
yeah,
like if she's not brewing something, I don't know what the heck's going on. But that was March 6th. So that's going to be my goal, is to have them together probably end of February and just see what happens.
Yeah. Does food cycling, have you looked into food cycling those at all?
No, because I never paid it any mind, because they don't have a high metabolism, but they're always looking for food, always. And they'll eat anything I put in there. So I'm very sparing on their food, because I know that they'll get obese quick if I don't.
Even if you just did like frequent smaller stuff?
I mean, yeah, I'm like right now I'm giving them a rat pup a week. And they change
that to like 2 rat pinks twice a week.
Yeah, or even like 4 rat pinks a week, 1 every other day or something, maybe. I don't know, but they could easily eat a smaller size medium rat.
Right.
But
right.
I don't do it because it's just,
I know,
yeah,
like guys with chondros and stuff, like they're not going to feed their females an adult mouse, every 4 days, but they are going to give them something smaller. But basically, like, to bump up to basically trigger those hormones into saying, okay, it must be breeding season because this food keeps coming and coming and coming.
Yeah.
They give them more frequent, smaller meals, and then they don't have to worry as much about the obesity factor of giving them like a full size prey item constantly, and then them having issues, as far as like getting impacted or blocked up or something. But
yeah, so my thought process was, instead of giving, so like I try to feed stuff on Wednesdays or Thursdays just because of my work schedule. Instead of giving them, and I usually give them a live rat pup just for some kind of enrichment. But what I was thinking about doing, and I give them other stuff, chicks, frog legs, whatever. But what I was thinking about doing is doing a smaller frozen thawed rat pup, drop fed, say Monday night before this show. And then Wednesday, a chick. And then Friday, a frog leg. And like do that for a month straight and then throw them together. You know what I mean?
I mean that. So basically that kind of, that would do the same thing more or less. You're just looking at less fat and things like that with the chick and the frog leg, because the frog leg is going to be pretty much all protein and calcium. And then the chick is going to be like a saltine cracker, because I feel like there's really not a whole lot going on there, but at least it's food to, it tells them that food's here. And then, you're right.
Well, I got some meaty yellow chicks. So,
I mean, it's worth a shot. Like I said, the only way you're going to know is to try.
Yeah. Yeah.
That's when we talk about, Jake and I, and I know you and I have talked about it. Like, the only way we learn what's working and what doesn't is to experiment. And obviously you want to experiment to a degree that's safe for the animal and stuff, but I don't know. It seems like people are just, they're weary to step outside of the box of what we know works, or think what works. And I think it's just one of those things where it's like, we just got to try it.
Yeah.
See what happens.
And the 2 snakes that I'll be pairing, I've been debating how to redo their cage to make it more interactive for them. I'm not going to say enrichment, but like I really wanted to dabble with hay and like cut hay for them to like get in and do some cryptic basking.
Make it more dynamic.
Make it more dynamic, right? And I realized that I'm not going to do that until after this season because I just want things to be the same.
Yeah.
You know? So, and like, I know that my one girl is way too big for her hide cave, her plastic hide box that she has, but I don't want to change it because it smells like her. She knows exactly where it is. Like, it's just that routine is there. So
would you have enough room to add a bigger one in addition to the one that's in there currently, and then eventually, after she's had that one for a while, just take out the smaller one?
Yeah, and actually that's what I'm going to do. I have Marcus bought a bunch of black plastic hides off of like Abu Dhabi or something, and they are so nice. They're smooth edged, dense black
like
polymer
that
plastic
ABS stuff.
Yeah, they're just really. And I think he paid like $3 each for them. Meanwhile, an inferior product is like $20 at Petco. So he gave me a whole stack of them, different size ones. So like I've got them in with the water pythons now, and I'm probably gonna put one of those in with each rink. But I want to spray foam the top of it, and then I want to stick some fake grass in the spray foam so that it looks like it's grass growing out of a rocky hide. I just do time in the day, you know?
Yeah.
So
I feel you.
But like I got all the decor, I got the fake grass, I got the fake cactuses and shit. I just got to get it done. It's never ending. So,
well, Tyson earlier asked, either of you ever have Diones? That's a species I'm eyeballing to expand. Also considering Ptyas, the green rats. So I had Diones for a while. They now reside with Billy Hunt. I bred them once or twice, and they're awesome. They're cool snakes. I was just on Morph Market earlier before we started, and there's more Diones on there currently than I've ever seen, which is really cool because that's an awesome species that I feel like is severely underrated. I don't know why they haven't been more popular or really taken off, because they're not big. They come in a ton of colors and pattern mutations. Super easy to keep. Like, didn't give mine heat, kept them ambient. They did great. Bred no problem. I think the male was locked up with the female within like 5 minutes of putting them together. Babies are really easy to get started. Their whole reproductive timeline is really interesting because they hold on to the eggs for a lot longer, but then they lay them and then they hatch after roughly a month. So they kind of start incubating in a sense in the female, and then she lays them, and then they go to term and hatch. It's pretty interesting. Yeah, they're like sort of shorter, stockier corns. Males especially are a lot smaller than females. My female was about the size of a decent sized adult corn. My male was probably half that, if not smaller. So there's sexual dimorphism. Some of the prices of what I was seeing on Morph Market seemed a little ridiculous, but if you can find some, you know, they're awesome. They're great. And like, if you can get some that are, you don't need anything crazy in terms of like the nuclear orange ones, which some of the pictures on there seem to be a little doctored to me at first glance. I don't know, but that's another interesting one too, because my male was a Siberian and my female was a Beijing, and they got the South Carolina cool down, which was like cold for a week, you know, sub 50s, and then they'd get a week of 75, and then that just continued to flip flop until cooling was over, and they bred fine. What I've been told though is the difference. So there's those and there's bimaculata. They look very similar. They're very closely related, except bimaculata have a range that is minuscule compared to Diones. Apparently the bimaculata, like, you have to get those below 55 for a consistent period of time to get those to breed. But I did not breed my bimaculata. Or I did. Female got egg bound, finally passed the egg, and I did not pair them again. So I don't know. Diones though didn't seem to matter. That's another one where I feel like maybe you could give them like a sort of a half-assed cool down, and you're still going to get results from it. But
we argued this. They're the largest distribution.
They gotta be.
I think we were talking about this. It's either them or puff adders, one or the other.
It's gotta be them, because I mean we're literally talking from east coast of Eurasia all the way to west coast of Europe. Like,
yeah, I remember we talked about this from. Yeah, but then you also have puff adders, which is the entire perimeter of the African continent. So I don't know.
Like literally the entire continent?
No. So yeah, from no. So yeah. Sorry about that, English speaking folks. Morocco. So like west of the Atlas Mountains, Morocco, down around the perimeter of West Africa, all the way down the west coast, around the south coast, up all the way into East Africa, up into Ethiopia and Kenya, and then south of the Sahara through the majority of the continent.
Okay.
So it's close to Dion's range. Yeah.
I think about like the whole cryptic diversity and stuff that they found in chondros and other species and stuff, and there's no way there's not more going on in Dion's.
Yeah,
genetically.
For sure.
Like when you have a range that big, I refuse to believe that that's all the same thing from one side to the other. Like there's got to be more going on there. There's entirely too many barriers happening in that range to separate things. I don't know, but they're fun. I recommend them. I really would like to see them get more popular. Maybe one day I can get a pair again and have some around, but it was just one of those things, like those in the bimaculata. Just Billy's thing is Eurasian rats and stuff, and so I was like, dude, if you take them and run with them, I handed him that football, passed him that baton to run with. So
yeah.
After feeding this tri-collared hog exactly once, I'm getting more.
Nice, Harry. Nice. They are super cool, man. I like them. Not my thing, but
yeah,
super cool.
The Andeans give me my tricolor fix.
Yeah, how they doing?
Strange.
Yeah,
they're weird. They're ridiculously shy, and you have to be very particular about, at least the two that I have. You have to be very particular about how you present food. You can't just barge in there and dangle a frozen thought in their face and expect them to grab it. They're just going to freak the fuck out and take off. And then if you just drop feed it and they don't know it's there, then it just sits there for a day and doesn't get eaten. And then if you put a live one in there, it has to be under a certain size or it's just going to freak them out and they're not going to touch it. So
interesting.
It's been they've been, hasn't been like difficult or anything. It's just been odd seeing how particular they are with that kind of stuff. But
yeah,
it's kind of the same with there's a lot of parallels between those and the Conicus, honestly.
Oh, really?
Conicus are kind of the same way. Like they'll take drop fed, no problem. But like live, if it's on the larger side, like they're not gonna mess with it. If it's smaller, they'll definitely go for it. But I think that's just because like their gape is much more limited than a lot of other snakes.
Speaking of them, are you gonna put them together this year?
No, because my females that I have are still small.
Oh, okay.
I have the adult male. I was on Morph Market earlier. I checked out what was happening on the Conicus section.
Okay.
Looking around, Ben Siegel has a female. It looks like it might be an adult, but I don't know.
Okay. I'm the same thing with Cerastes this year.
Have the 4, and that was going to be like it until I breed them. So
yeah, don't go jumping the gun.
It's how I ended up with 1 million corn snakes.
That's true. They're a lot easier to end up with 1 million, though.
This is true.
Yeah. But yeah, I'm the same way, man. I was going to pair Cerastes in April, and I'm like, nah, they're still too tiny. They could do it, but it's not worth it.
Yeah, these are going to need at least another year plus.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah, I agree.
Awesome. I love those little slugs.
Dirt Snake Mafia.
That's right. So right now the game plan is for next year to just do rhinos.
Okay. Like this coming season?
Yeah, and I'm still going back and forth on if I'm want to do beards or not.
Just
like
do one. Just do one clutch. People are chomping at the bit, my friend.
I mean, yeah, they are until I have some for sale, and then it's crickets.
Really?
Yeah. The years I don't produce them, that's when I get the most messages about them. The years that I do produce them, I don't hear anything.
Well, anyone who's listening to this, if you want bear dye, tell somebody to get on the ball. And then
if I do, it'll be the Loma Altas again. I don't think I'll do any other pairings.
Yeah. And I feel like somebody just posted in one of the many group chats I am privy to. They started to cohab their Arizona Mountain Kings for future copulation. And I know that Pyromilana is not necessarily known for being cannibalistic, but I still feel like when you have two snake-eating snakes, you probably should have them the same size. Well, I saw someone just pair a male and female where the male is half the size of the female. And they're doing great. They're doing fine.
For it.
Yeah. And they're literally the same size as mine. And I'm like, should I do it or should I not? Now, that female is a proven breeder I got from Keith McPeak. Wow. So she did not breed last year. She bred the year before. So in theory, she could do it this year, but I feel like I should give her a year off to settle into my room and just get accustomed to my room. But even still, at the rate that my male is growing, this time next year, it'll probably still be the same size difference.
Right.
So would you do it?
Supervised.
I mean, you can't. I'm not gonna live in there with them.
I'm not gonna put them together and then be like, cool, I'll check on y'all in a week.
No, but
I'm around.
I would house them. If I was gonna do it, I would house them together.
Yeah.
So, and then the male is
more regularly to check on and make sure I'm missing a snake.
And the male will literally eat anything you put in front of him. So I would probably separate him to feed and then just throw him back in there.
Mm-hmm.
So
Kasicki said he's had his Pyromela pyros together for 2 years now. He said, but they're the same size and clutch mates.
Yeah. And see, that whole same size thing is a real thing to me. I've just had too many mishaps with animals being slightly smaller and getting eaten by their friend and or lover.
Yeah.
The worst was zebra cobras. Oh.
Really?
Yeah, man. Yeah. Nigricincta. Man, I had a friend who had a stunning pair of like chocolate colored Nigricincta, and they were almost the same size, and that boy got eaten and he got digested. So yeah, and that was like, let's give him a couple hours and check on him, and a couple hours later there was just one snake.
At least she digested it. I feel like that's like a double kick in the nuts when they kill the male and then they just eat it and then like, wait, this is too big. Yeah. You can have it back now.
Yeah. Well, it's like, I know I've told the story before, but my buddy bred Dumerals boas and we didn't have the rack space. So we put, I don't know, there was maybe 20 babies and we put 2 babies per drawer on a Monday. On a Tuesday, I went to see if any of them spilled their water bowl, and I only had 10 snakes. And those 10 snakes were really, really fat.
Mm.
And then on Wednesday, I went back to check the water bowls again, and I had 2 snakes again.
Oh.
Yeah. That was real hard kick in the shins. So.
What do you do as far as cooling for venomous, though? Like, does Florida have any regulations in terms of like how you're supposed to go about doing that if you're doing them outside of if you're having to put them in a cooler or something?
No, as long as it's within the approved dwelling.
Okay.
So like my wine cooler, I would bring the wine cooler in the snake room and then put them in the wine cooler in the snake room. So, and luckily I have a large enough snake room that I could do that. In terms of opening a window, I can't. There's no opening a window.
Yeah, but like you still have to label the cooler and everything like you would a cage if you had stuff in that.
Yeah, absolutely. And that's why I really love those Cloud Forest design labels, because so like I've got a V70 rack that has those Trans-Pecos copperheads in there. It's the only thing in that rack. So there's 2 drawers full and 3 drawers empty, that if I want to throw a cobra in there while I'm cleaning or something, I don't know, or throw corn snakes in there while I'm cleaning, I have extra drawers to do so. So when I separate them to feed, I will throw a copperhead in each drawer to individually feed them, and I will take those Cloud Forest labels, and they're all Velcro backed, and I'll just slap a label on each drawer, and then when I put them back to their respective homes, I just peel it off and throw it back in the supply drawer. So those Cloud Forest labels are super handy, man. I Velcro back them and I just stick them where I need them, And if I've got 2 snakes in one cage, I put 2 of those labels. I have duplicates or triplicates of everything. I think I've got like 5 or 6 cottonmouth ones, like 5 or 6 Trans-Pecos copperheads, 5 or 6 southern copperheads, because I've got probably 10 Cerassi, no, more crap, probably 15 Cerassis labels, because at one point I had that many individually housed, So just get duplicates of all the stuff I know I'm going to have a larger group of. I think at one point I had like 16 rinks.
Wow.
So I've got 16 or 17 rink labels.
Yeah.
So, yep.
I'm trying chondros again this year. I put my male back in with the female yesterday.
Excellent.
He's in a shed cycle right now, so maybe after he sheds, things will pop off. I need to start upping their food frequency, but I'm also slowly convinced that I'll never get chondro babies again.
No, I don't say that. Let me ask you this, keeping positive. I know chondros, as well as many other Morelia, will oftentimes shed sperm plugs or quasi-nocturnal emissions when they shed. Do you notice an increase in that pre-breeding season or during breeding?
No.
Season? No.
So
they're hanging on to that stuff.
Once they hit about 2.5, 3 years old, if they're male, that's when you start seeing plugs.
Okay.
But it's not necessarily a frequency thing. It's just waiting for them to hit the age to where it's obvious or not. And I think I'm female heavy, because I have a couple that every time they shed, I don't see anything that looks definitively like plugs, but they also somehow end up with the vent end in the water bowl every time they shed, so that when I go to pull it out, it's all like mush, soggy and wet, and I can't even look like it. I can't, even if there was plugs there, I couldn't see them. So the male that I have, like, he's shed plugs multiple times, so I know it is in fact a male. I'm trying to get chondros again, man.
Yeah.
So that's why I'm thinking just rhinos, because on top of I'm gonna have multiple clutches of rhinos next year is the plan.
Okay.
If I do those and I'm dealing with chondro babies earlier in the year, then corns and beards and stuff are probably not gonna make my life any less stressful. So probably I'm taking the year off from corns for sure.
Okay.
And the beards are the only thing that's sort of up in the air. And again, that might just be the lomas that go.
So rhinos you're going to hold off on because you did it last year. Jansen and you did not do it last year?
Rhinos?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. So, but you're going to do it again this year?
I got a clutch of rhinos this year. I got a clutch of rhinos last year, and I'm going to have at least 2 clutches, hopefully, next year.
Okay. Oh, sorry. I'm thinking next year being this coming year. But in the Jansen, you're just going to keep them cohab and see what happens?
Yeah, so those, I was actually talking to Jared Carmichael today. He's got oxycephalum, and he's been producing those like crazy.
Nice.
And he has noticed, and it sort of tracks what Freight Fritas wrote on his website. He upped food frequency, and then he started misting at least once a day. And he said he noticed a pretty drastic change in terms of behavior and stuff like that. So I've done like light versions of that in the past.
Okay.
And I get, so here's the thing with the Jansen. I get a clutch from them every year.
Yeah.
The eggs just usually aren't good. And the one that was good and went the distance died full term, died full term, basically.
Yeah. Yeah.
So I think to fix that, I'm going to do what Jared is doing, and I'm going to get serious about upping the food, because that was my plan this year. And I just got so busy with corns and stuff that it just didn't happen.
Yeah.
But she consistently lays like somewhere in the May to June window. And then I keep forgetting the persimmon. I should be able to breed the persimmon this coming season too.
Okay.
Which is going to be interesting, because those things are so fucking angry, and the babies are going to be angry.
Yeah, they are.
And all they do is bite, and it's like, fuck.
Yep.
So, but that's something that I've been waiting on for, I think, going on 2 years now, because Matt Mose sent them to me when they were smaller. They're 2019, so they're of age, and I was going to breed them last year, and Matt said no, give them one more year. So that's what I did. So next year, those are going to go together. Those things are goofy, dude. Yeah. I went to go give the female I had a spare fuzzy or something the other day. I went to go give it to her and took it to her head with the tongs, and she just bit the shit out of it and then ran.
Oh, jeez.
She hit it hard, like nailed it, and then was like, no, and took off.
Okay.
Okay, whatever.
Whatever floats your boat, lady. Well,
Lisa said with the white lips, she noticed the male will shed huge sperm plugs after breeding season. He will usually soak before.
Interesting. Very interesting. Almost like he's purging himself before the ongoing season.
That's right.
Ongoing gauntlet. The gauntlet of sections.
Pre and post-season rituals.
Yes. He's got that mental clarity. On that note, I'll throw an ethics question out there for all listeners and or commentees in the chat. Is it time for me to breed pygmies?
What's the ethical question there?
The ethical question is, there is no short supply of dusky pygmies on the market. There is no short supply of dusky pygmies in the hobby. And A, what am I going to do if I do get them? Because I don't want that many. And B, do I want to deal with getting them going?
See, that would be the main thing for me, is like dealing with babies that small. It's like I really gotta want to deal with that.
Yeah. And and it's one of those things where like you can hope for a 4 snake litter, 5 snake litter, but you know that if you hope for that, you're gonna get 10 cocktail straws. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And I think my days of tease feeding pinky parts are over. I've just done too much of that in my life. So I really want to do it because I've never done it. But I also don't want to get, this is going to sound horrible. I don't mean to put a value on the living creatures that we keep, but I don't want to get stuck with them.
There's a reality of it. Like there is a,
yeah.
Again, it's not all about money, but at a point it has to be at least a little bit about money. You know?
Right. And it's not even about the money. It's about like if I bred the Transpagos copperheads and no one wanted to pay for them, I could still give them away to people and people would enjoy them and like them. I don't know if I'd get away with that with dusky pygmies.
Yeah, no, I
don't think I could. I don't think I could do that. I don't think I could really give them away, because the people that would essentially give them a good home, either already have them or aren't going to want them because of what they are.
Did you get them established and then wholesale?
Yeah, I could. I'm sure I could, dump them on underground or something.
About wholesaling at this point. Like,
yeah, it's just the question is the wholesalers even going to want them because of what they are?
The price is right.
I mean,
granted, you're probably not going to get a ton for them, but I mean, maybe it's because I'm lazy, but I just find wholesaling to be way easier than having to make the ads, pay for the Morph Market account, get them all set up, answer a million questions on the animals only to get ghosted. Like, to me, just like you were saying, like, knowing your days are over on some things, I've come to find that as I get older too, like there's things that I'm just going to pick and choose as to what I want to deal with. And it's really nice knowing what those limits are as time goes on,
Yeah, that's true. And, Jeff Frederick posts a good thing. He says, if you don't want to deal with picky eaters, give the bad ones to Henry for snake eating snakes. I'm not opposed to that. I am opposed to it with pygmies because mine are wild caught. They're Palm Beach County locality, and I don't know what's living inside them.
Yeah.
And I would feel dreadful. And Henry, of all people, has the nicest deep freezers possible because he's exclusively feeding snakes to snakes.
Mm-hmm.
And I know that his like sub-zero freezers for 180 days or however long he deep freezes them, liquid nitrogen, whatever he friggin' does to his food items. I would feel dreadful if I inadvertently gave something to one of his pets. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So, yep. And, but that's where it is. So part of me wants to take one of those black box cages. Let me rephrase that. I had it in my mind that I was going to cohab a pair of dusky pygmies. I have a background for a black box cage. I have the decor. It's literally a picture of the woods where I found this pair of pygmies with my Subaru in the background. Like, that's the wallpaper. And I have the fake, cypress knees and grass and all that crap. But I don't know if I want to do it, man. And that's where it comes into the ethical conundrum. I don't want to just say, oh, I did it, and then pawn these babies off on someone else, and then they have a hard time getting them going. I don't necessarily want to deal with them myself because I know they're going to be a hard time. And maybe I'm psyching myself out. I could get 5 good fat babies and they take live blood pinks right off the bat. Who knows? You know what I mean? But
how often is that the case?
More often than not, in my personal opinion. I think as long as the pygmy is big enough and not stressed, I think they're easier than getting like baby eyelashes going. So, baby eyelashes that you're, feeding a frozen thawed pinky head to.
Yeah.
But then again, you can tease feed a baby eyelash. You can tease feed a baby squam. You can't tease feed a baby pygmy. It's just going to haul ass and run away. So, I don't know.
That's a tough one.
Yeah. So that's where I'm at. And I know people are wondering, well, why don't you just let them go where you found them? I cannot do that. I cannot morally and ethically release any animal that I've taken into my care.
Can you legally do that?
I gotta be honest, I don't know. I know people that do it. I know people that breed local corn snakes and that once they hatch out, they just let the babies go. I can't do that knowing that I have exotics in my collection and not knowing what's living in that room.
Like a fully controlled environment where you know for sure that there's nothing, no hitchhikers.
Yeah, exactly. Like I have a friend who's younger than me, and he exclusively keeps and breeds Florida native stuff that he field collected himself. And I know he releases stuff. And I mean, corn snakes, water snakes, garter snakes, stuff like that. And I don't think there's really a problem with that, in my opinion, because he doesn't have pet shop stuff.
Right.
He's not feeding live rats from Petco. He's got frozen thawed stuff in a chest freezer and or fish. So I don't see a big problem with that. but like I've got stuff from around the world, man. And God knows what's living in them. You know, not to sound morbid, but that's just the way I got to think about it. So
you're right.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't know. This year was intended to be a light year. And I think last year was intended to be a light year, and they have not been on the breeding front. So this year, I'm like, rhinos for sure, and anything else is a maybe. You know.
Yeah.
And the rhinos, it's like, yeah, those are they're I'm not gonna say a headache to get started, but you know, rosies and stuff. It's a little more time consuming than just do pinks and stuff, but
most definitely.
I love those little bastards.
Most definitely. Just chiming on the group chat, Scott, good to see you, brother. And Scott says, what if the guy heads to a show and gets mites? He ain't that guy. So that the odds of that are very slim, but I see where you're going with that. And then Jeff Frederick said, do wrinkles eat snakes, don't they? They have. I know there's been record of it, but primarily it's actually toads and rodents. I don't even think I would try. I mean, they might, but I mean, I've got other snakes that eat snakes for that. So that would eat snakes for that. So and Mike Gillen says in terms of assuming he's referencing the pygmy breeding, he says you can always do it once and never do it again. That's true. That is true. And like I've got baby pygmies going, ones that I did not produce. And it was a huge pain in the ass. And I'll say flat out that half of them didn't make it. So
just got to have the heart to go through with it.
Yeah. Well, oof. Yeah.
Are you going to breed any scorpions?
Not on purpose. I'm still up in the air if that one Laris is gravid or not. I don't think it is. I think it's just fat.
Pre-mold or something?
Yeah, I think that's what it is. And then I've got one of the Australis is definitely in pre-mold, which is I'm so freaking neurotic, right? Like these are ancient bugs that are armor plated with lethal venom, and I'm still neurotic about leaving crickets in there because I know it's in pre-molt. And I don't know if it's going to molt tomorrow, if it's going to molt in 2 months, but like you can tell, like it's definitely going to molt soon. And it's probably
do pre-killed crickets.
What's that?
Do pre-killed crickets.
Well, no, what I'm doing is I'm throwing in 2, making sure that it holds one and is eating the other, and then I feel okay. But like the other ones, I just throw in 3 or 4 crickets and walk away. But that one, I'm like, let me make sure it gets them first, you know?
Yeah, I'm saying just like head smash one and then leave it at the, near the
entrance,
where the scrape is, and that's it.
Yeah.
Well, that's what I have to do with the Margaritatis squirplings right now is like pre-kill stuff because they're so small.
Yeah,
like, I could give them live, but I'd be giving them fruit flies currently.
Yeah, screw that, man.
So right now it's just like last night I think I cut up a mealworm into 4 sections and they each got a piece of that. And within like 20 minutes of lights being out, I go back in and check, and they're all like munching on their piece of mealworm. So
yeah, no way am I feeding Heidi Eye to a bug.
I'll do it if this maculatus is actually gravid, and I freaking hope she is. Like I'll do if it's a larger number of scorplings, like then I'll do it. But if we're talking like 4, like I am with the Central American barks, like I'm not gonna go get a culture for that. Like I'll just pre-kill or give them cricket legs or something. They'll eat.
Sure. Actually, I found some really good rubber succulents at Hobby Lobby.
Hobby Lobby.
I'm trying to find a picture of these plants. I took a picture and I sent it to Anna Maria, and now I think I deleted it like an idiot. But they are. I was like, wow, that's really cool. That would look great in a scorpion enclosure. And then I found out that they're native to that MENA region, And Anna Maria's mom has one in her garden in a little pot with her other succulents, a live one. I was like, that's super cool.
I have one that I got at Lowe's that I've been trying to keep alive in the snake room, and I've been struggling for some reason because I was going to put it in the classy enclosure, but
right, it's a succulent.
Yeah, and it's kind of just falling apart. I think I need to call it.
Yeah, I can't find this photo. Oh well, but yeah, it's some kind of flame flower looking succulent thing. So, but it's cool.
Which my classy is starting to get a little braver and starting to hang outside of her hide, which is
nice, cool. Nice. Which, real quick before we talk about transition to spiders, I bought. Months ago I bought. ZoomEd has a whole new line of desert decor with some really cool
like the box kit.
No, yeah, they have that, but these are like an individual fake succulent with like a fake rock base that you plant it, like it has little roots coming out of it. It's cool. They're like $8, I think, each, and they look really good. They do like creosote bush and some like agave type stuff. I found the same creosote at Hobby Lobby, $1.99, the exact same plastic rubber plant. So definitely, again, Hobby Lobby for all of your fake succulent needs.
It's not just for soccer moms, man.
It's really not. And it's
I'm
crazy.
in my Hobby Lobby at least once a week. And a lot of the times I don't even need anything. I just go in there because there's just a lot of cool stuff.
Yeah. Yeah, exactly. And I get the weird looks from the little old lady putting together some kind of silk flower arrangement in the rubber plant aisle, and she looks at me like I'm a weirdo because I look like I do, and I've got like this. I don't get a basket or a cart because I know I'm just getting a couple fake rubber succulents, and I'm like examining each one, like, oh, this one would look really good in an 18 quart. And these little old ladies are like, oh my god, why is this guy here? Why is he in my store?
So what I did actually, and I shot a video, and I've been Google Drive has been really irritating me with, because I try to I shoot them on my phone, and then because I shoot different parts, and then I do it all together, put it all together post, right. But I try to upload to Google Drive, the files will just sit there and have the spinning wheel of loading for eternity and never load. So I have to resubscribe to Dropbox for 20 minutes, upload what I need to upload, and then put it on my computer, and then put it all together. And I did a video because I took, you know how they have the little acrylic cases for like model cars?
Yeah.
So that's what I moved the isometrics into.
Oh, cool. Because
originally they were in one of those PetSmart Thrive desert enclosures, which is just the terrestrial one.
Yeah.
It's a little big for the adult pair. It's a little spacious, a little more spacious than it needed to be. So I went and got for $6.99. It's like, I don't know, probably 8 inches long and maybe 4 or 5 inches wide. One of these acrylic cases, flipped it upside down, melted holes in it, and that's what I have the isometrics in now. And I put a live pothos in there and stuff. And I did a video on that I'm going to upload at some point.
Nice.
But they have a couple different sizes in those. And aside from the lid kind of being a pain to get off and on, it looks really good. I'm really happy with it.
Excellent. Glad to hear.
They've got all kinds of cool stuff that you can use for things that they're not meant for.
Yeah, and anyone who's doing desert critter that doesn't necessarily knock stuff over, like some smaller lizards or even some desert snakes that are more sedentary, I've been taking a piece of cork bark, using my step drill bit, like we talked about earlier, drilling the appropriate size hole, and then shoving the stem of that Michael's Arts and Crafts fake succulent.
Oh, that's a good idea.
Yeah, into the bark. I snip off the bottom that's protruding, and then I bury it in sand. And I think it looks good.
Yeah, I was gonna, like I said, I got that little live one, and I took it out of the pot and put it in some different soil. That way, I was worried. I didn't want to put it straight in with the classy because I'm worried about pesticides and stuff.
Of course.
And so I think now at this point though, it's just dying because I was like, this will be awesome. Like I'll put it in there, like that cage stays dry. Like you really don't need a lot of humidity for any of the Brachypelma, like not a ton at least. And so I was like, it'll be perfect. It'll do great. And it's just slowly like falling apart physically.
Oh, damn.
So may just have to bite the bullet and just do fake.
Dude, it's the way to go. So I went on Hobby Lobby's app and I paid $1.99. Oh yeah. And you get the coupons on the app, dude.
Oh,
all about those coupons.
Boy, I'm downloading that shit right now.
So here is the purple mini succulent pick, which is basically like a pseudo creosote. I paid $1.99. This on here it says $2.99, but I mean it looks floral on the screen, but it is a desert plant, man.
Yeah.
I mean, here it is from the top. So like put that on top of some.
That's really cool looking. Yeah.
Yeah. So I have that with the androctonus, and then I've got.
Need to get me some of that for the Brachypelma and Lidocotyle stuff.
So here, this is, and again, I wanted to get species of plant that were pseudo native to the region. It's tough, man, especially when you're buying rubber shit at Michael's or Hobby Lobby. But so here's a Echeveria Lola, $149 each, and I've got that in the Pseudocerastes fieldy.
Mm-hmm.
So, and I did the same thing. I snipped the stem and stuck it in a piece of cork bark, and I buried the cork bark in sand. And honestly, when it gets all dusty from the sand and the substrate you have in there, it looks really good. And then I'm trying to find some of the other ones.
Does the first one you showed, the purple mini, does that stem have like a metal wire in it?
Yeah, they all have metal wires, unless it's like a bulbous or a disc type succulent. They'll have wire in the stems, and they're fairly opposable. You can also take a torchlighter to it and kind of warm it a little bit, and then bend it to your desire.
Okay.
And then I got some of these red agaves.
Boy, I'm going on Hobby tomorrow,
dude. So these are expensive because these are big. This one's on sale for $16.79, but I got a smaller version that's probably smaller than your palm, and I think I paid like $4 for it.
Yeah, that's what I'm looking at right now. It's really nice.
And I mean, they've got like 20 pages of fake cactus, you know. Oh, here.
Do you do anything with them when you get them home though? Do you like rinse them off or wash them off?
For bugs, no, because
not for bugs necessarily. Well, yeah, for bugs, like
for bugs, no. For bugs, if they're dusty or whatever from the shelf, I don't care because it's going in a desert scorpion enclosure. But for snakes and stuff, most definitely. I got really big fake agave, which they've got wire in each petal, so you can really bend it and shape it. I wasn't too concerned with it because I put them in with Subox, and I know they're going to slither all over it and bend it and move it and whatnot. For those, I washed them with hot soapy water just to get any kind of glue or dye or whatever was on there off of them. But then I dried them with a paper towel, and then I let them sit out for like 3 or 4 days before I put them in the actual enclosure, just because I didn't want moisture to be in the silk fabric of the leaves and raise humidity in the tubs. As much airflow as I have with those Subox, I really ration the amount of humidity that's in there. So
yeah.
I found that they call it red and green spiky succulent. It's $3.99, and this picture doesn't do it justice because it is so cool looking. Those tips are like a purplish black. And I think I don't know if I'm going to put these with Cerastes, or I was thinking maybe of waiting because I really want to get some Parabuthus in the near future and maybe put them with some Parabuthus.
Which ones?
Transvolicus for sure. And then I've never had Maximus. So I think I might want to dabble in them too.
Yeah.
But yeah, I mean, there's like 10 pages of rubber succulents on this app, and they have like these fake prickly pears, and the spines are like cotton. So I have these in with my Gila Monster. I just took it out of the pot.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. See, I want to get some of those to put in like the Central American like dryer stuff that I have. I think it'd be cool.
Yeah.
I'll put them in with the curly hair, but I have a feeling she'll just freaking tear it up and use it as a beach ball or something.
Yeah, probably.
Because she just, I fill her water bowl up, like it's a little vial that I use that I just bury, and she like pulls it up and just tosses it. And I'm like, you little motherfucker.
I'll show one more and I'll stop talking about rubber plants. This is succulent cluster metal wall decor. It is $27, but it's a pack of 5 in varying colors and sizes.
But are they metal?
No, they're meant for you to. They're rubber, but they're
they're metal because they're bendable.
Yeah, and they're meant for you to put it on like a metal sign in your home with your Southwestern decor. Yeah, it's crazy, but I've killed so many live succulents. I'm done with it. You know, just rubber is the way to go, man. Yeah. So, and then some of them have like they come in like a terracotta pot. Mm-hmm. So, and some of them are really cool. So I think for Anna Maria's leopard gecko, I might get 1 or 2 that come in terracotta pots, and then I can use the rubber succulent for whatever, and then I want to break the pots because they're all decorative terracotta, and like leave some pot shards in there, and maybe make one into a little cave, and I don't know, play around with it. I thought about trying to find some Southwestern like Navajo style pottery or whatever, and use that for like Desert Hairy, you know, or if I ever went up getting like a Arizona blonde or something.
Yeah, there's a lot of cool stuff out there.
There is.
I will say something that's been interesting is keeping sort of the basic species as far as tarantulas go the last couple weeks.
Yeah.
Like, they're so enjoyable.
Right?
Like, I never really paid much. I never had curly hairs before, and I have this curly hair, and she's a trip.
Yeah.
She's a monster with food. She tears everything up. It's hilarious. Like, if I go in and make it all proper and clean again, like, she just destroys it all. And then, like, I have a Vegans again.
Yeah.
And as common as those are, like, that is a ridiculously pretty spider.
It is. Is yours super red or no?
No, it's like jet black, and then it has the nice rust colored.
Oh, cool.
Abdomen.
Yeah.
But like, always out. I have that rose hair. I think that spider is actually ancient because that rose hair is big, and I think she's old. I am tempted to find a male for that, but like the Vegans, the albopilosum, even the avicularia, you know, like I had Avix before, but like curly hair.
You had a Vicovic?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like PetSmart Avix, whatever.
Yeah.
There's different morphotypes now. So there's like M1, M6,
oh, God.
That kind of thing. So don't know what these are, but they're just cool.
Yeah.
But like those basic species that I never really cared about before, like I freaking love them. They're super enjoyable.
Yeah, for sure. And you don't have to worry about it spazzing out on you.
The funny thing is, like, I got that curly hair to be like an educational thing for this thing that Callaway and I were doing.
Yeah, I remember you told me.
Dude, she is not the one. Like, Jesus, yeah. If it moves, she's gonna take a swat. Like, she's gonna grab it and see if it's food. It's gonna happen.
Is the Vegans friendly or no?
It's considerably more mellow than the one that I had years ago. So my experience with vegans was I had one, and anytime you did anything, it freaked the fuck out and did laps.
Yeah.
This one, like, I got to really like pester it to get it to move.
Could you? So you could like corral it with your hand, you know?
Probably. I mean, I'd be reluctant to, because that's another one where it's like if I put food in there, it does not hesitate to grab it.
Yeah.
So if it moves, it's gonna try.
Yeah.
But in terms of like handling it and not worrying about it latching onto me like the Albo Pelosum would, I'd take my chances with the vegans before I did the.
Oh, I've been meaning to ask you. I was gonna send this. I gotta find the clip and send it to you and Serg. I was gonna send it in our little group chat, but I came across an Instagram reel of some bug guy, and he has. I want to say it was a sand spider, but I don't think it was. But it was definitely some kind of huntsman style spider, and he has it on his hand. And it's super macroed in to its chelicerae. And it's literally using its fangs. It's biting him, but it's not actually biting. It's using the fangs to hold on for like an anchor. And he talks about how like some spiders use their fangs to anchor themselves to stuff. And you watch the fangs go into his skin, like just on surface layer. You can actually see the fang itself under the first few layers of his skin. And he's like, yeah, I'm not reacting because I know it's not actually biting me. It's using it as an anchor. And I was thinking, first of all, fuck that shit. I am not about that. And second of all, I wondered how many people got quote unquote bit by tarantulas and they flinched and reacted when in actuality it was probably doing that anchoring thing.
I've seen some videos of some not scorpions, but some tarantulas doing that, where like they had their hand vertically like this, and I saw like they had the fangs sort of over the edge, like using
to
it
pull
as,
themselves
like,
up.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So I'm sure it's not that uncommon. Can't say that I'd be that calm about it.
Yeah, I think I would. I think I would inadvertently react,
even with the stuff like the vegans and the Alba Pelosum. Like that's not a bad bite, but I feel like the bite itself would probably suck a lot more than the actual like venom.
Yeah,
because like those fangs they're not small.
No, not at all.
You know, saying like I want to handle that rosea.
Yeah,
but I'm also like I see the freaking chompers on that thing, and I'm like, I don't think I do.
And then you have a Smith eye, right?
No, I have the classy.
Oh, that's right, the classy.
Which is way cooler, and I want more of them.
And you have not held that one?
No, that one's still small. And when like most brackies, when they're little like that, they're still pretty skittish. And they get bolder and less so as they get some size and age on them.
Yeah.
So I'm not worried that she would be like the Albo and try and eat my finger, but she's definitely not shy about herring either, which I'm not crazy about.
Yeah, that's annoying as fuck. Have you officially got your roll of spider tape?
Spider tape?
Yeah. You keep a small roll of duct tape right next to the spider enclosures.
Oh, no, not yet.
Okay. I used to have that.
Because like the ones that I know are big, like the Classy's the biggest kicker of all of them.
Right.
Like I haven't seen the Rosea do it. I haven't seen the Alba Pelosum do it. And I haven't seen the Vegans do it. So I'm not that worried about it. But that Classy, she definitely will. So I usually try not to mess with her too much.
Yeah.
Though she is, I think I am going to move her out of the container I have her in now and move her into the other, Desert Thrive enclosure.
Yeah.
Just because then once she's in that, she'll be good for a couple of years.
Yeah, for sure.
So.
For sure.
But man, dude, these things are freaking gorgeous. Supposedly they're pretty tough to breed. We confirmed that. I looked at the last molt and mine is a female.
Nice.
And I do want to get at least another like one or two of them and hope that I have a male in that mix somewhere. But they grow so slow. We're talking like it's going to be a solid like 3 to 5 years before it's even something I can even.
I mean, you wouldn't want to try and find just like a known adult male, just as like a sacrificial lamb
when the time comes.
Yeah,
sure. A lot of people, that's why breeding loans are so common with tarantulas and stuff, because when you're dealing with species like that are fairly rare, like there's not a ton of them out there, you kind of almost have to do that kind of stuff unless you just buy a group and play the odds.
Yeah.
So. Yeah, hares suck. Herring sucks.
And yeah, Jeff says find some nice Afghani pottery for that leopard gecko. Yeah, the my buddy actually did that. He got this particular blue colored clay from Afghanistan. These pots, they're Afghani pots, and he broke shards and broke these Afghani pots for his leopard gecko. I thought that was really cool. So that's where I kind of got the idea. But that'd be cool to do Southwestern, Hopi style pottery shards or whatever, and do it with like an Arizonensis or something, or a Diplocentris. That'd be cool.
Yeah, the more I see a Phonopelma and stuff too, the more interest I have in it as well. That's another group that I was around. I don't care about it. But after going to Texas and seeing, the Phonopelma we saw and stuff, and seeing the the Amore, which are just unbelievable. I don't know if you've seen those or not.
No.
It's like Mexican jade. It's an Phonopelma species, and it's
really
literally like metallic blue green with like a red rump. It's ridiculous.
That's awesome. That's desert.
They're super expensive. Yeah. Compared to the other Phonopelma, it's just like, why this is just completely left field.
What's the species name again?
It's a Phonopelma More or Amore.
More, I got it. Mooreae. Wow, that is awesome. That is like a psychedelic vegans.
Yeah.
Wow, that's cool. Here, I'll show the screen.
Super rare.
Yeah, man, it's like a versicolor vegans.
I have that little Simani, and dude, that thing has completely rearranged its entire container.
Really?
Like when they say those things are little bulldozers, man, like I believe it now, because that thing has completely shifted all of the dirt in the enclosure to like one corner, minus the cork bark. I'll have to get a video of it and send it to you, because it's hilarious. Like that little thing is just all day, all night, decorating, rearranging. I want some more of those too, because I would like to try my hand at breeding those in particular.
Sure. Micro Wilderness, I don't know where they are. It says local sales only, but they had some. They're sold out now, but they were $400.
Yep, for a sling.
Yep, for a sling.
So you don't even know if it's going to be a male or a female.
Yep.
Yeah, it's wild. A couple of weeks ago, I had a dream that I went into some gas station somewhere. I don't even know where. And almost, how like you remember Clarissa Explains It All on
Nickelodeon
back in the day with
Elvis
alligator?
Yeah, Elvis the alligator.
They had something like that set up in this gas station in the middle of nowhere. It wasn't even anywhere near like the Southwest either. It was bizarre. And I walk in, and they had a tarantula in this pool thing. And they were like, yeah, we don't know what it is. It's just someone dropped it off to us. It's just cool. He just hangs out. And I look, and it's one of those. And I'm like, do you guys realize like what you have? That's like, where did you get that? We're like, I don't know. Some guy just brought it and dropped it off. And I was like, Jesus.
Where was this?
It was some gas station. It was in a dream I had.
Oh.
It was just weird.
Like, I missed that part.
Yeah, I don't know what it was strange, because I was like, that looks a lot like one of those morays. And I was like, oh my God, it is. And they had like a little sign with his name and like a little story and stuff. Bizarre.
You've been falling asleep too much Nick at night, bro.
It's either that or dreams about coral snakes. So.
Yeah. Oh, man. Well, sir, we're at the witching hour. Is there anything else you want to touch base on?
This cigar is very good.
Good. I was actually very pleased with my St. Louis Ray. It was not a flavored cigar, but it was very sweet. I enjoyed it.
Yeah, this was solid for $6.99 or $7.99. It's smoking
Nice.
again.
Good. I'll try and find one.
Or you could just come up and visit.
Yeah, I know. If I had a long weekend, maybe I would.
Maybe if you're lucky.
Yeah, when I switch careers and don't work retail anymore.
I guess I still technically do work retail. Like we have like a little shop area, but
it's not the same.
It's not the same.
Not the same.
But this episode was brought to you by blackboxcages.com. Check them out. Give them a follow on Facebook. Give them a follow on Instagram. Hop on their website and look up the new racks that they have released recently. One of them being that XRV28. Phenomenal rack. I'll be doing a video on that. I'm probably going to get all that set up this weekend. I'll shoot the video. I'll get it uploaded. I try not to wait to do videos and get them uploaded. Like as soon as I get them done, I try to edit them and upload them. So be on the lookout for that. And then within the next couple weeks, we'll do that one with Jake and all the racks that he has from him and do sort of a compare and contrast. So
I'm excited for that. That'll be cool.
Yeah, I think it'll be really good. We didn't even think about it until Jake was like, I think I have one of every one of the racks. I'm like, that's perfect because we can do sort of a comparison of all of them together at in one time and show them off and talk about them. And FulviusApparel.com. Black Friday sale month is still going on until the 30th. And then I'm sure, I don't know exactly what I'm going to do yet, but I will carry over some sort of sale into December as we get into Christmas and stuff like that. I also need to look at the calendar and figure out where the cutoff date for orders and stuff will be if you want it before Christmas. Because we also get like a week off from Christmas until New Year's. So I'm not going to be in the office making shirts. I may go in while we're out just to get some orders done and stuff and keep the printers running because it's not good to let those print heads sit too long like that and not get used. But that'll be announced on the Fulvius Instagram and Facebook and stuff like that. So be on the lookout. And then cold-blooded caffeine, best coffee around. It's getting cold. You need to energize and you need to warm up. What better way to do that than with the Snakes and Stogies blend? The clashing of worlds of Mexico and Rwanda in one bag.
Who'd have thought it'd be as good as it is?
Right? Pioneers on the cutting edge.
Trailblazers.
That's right. Nothing happening Thursday because it's Thanksgiving. So I think we'll be back Monday.
Yeah, sounds like a plan. And happy Thanksgiving to everyone listening out there in the ether.
When's the next Venom Exchange Radio episode dropping?
Oh God. I wanted to have one last week, but just scheduling's got tied up. We're doing some collaborative things with another podcast, so that will be definitely before Christmas. And then Nipper and I are probably going to do like a end of the year episode, a year in review type thing. Again, hopefully before Christmas. And that's all I got for right now. But feel free to go over to venomexchangeradio.com and purchase a Dirt Snake Mafia styling of apparel. And the Hood Tats stuff is up. So if you like Cobras, buy a Hood Tat shirt. You'll enjoy it.
Yeah. All right. Everyone have a good evening, good morning, good day, whenever you may be listening to this. We love you all. We appreciate you. Goodbye.
Bye.